That's the beauty of Mohawk. We really have all the best here that Ferguson has to offer at the Calibu Vineyard kitchen. Sweet is made sweet by Unser Tile. iColts represents to me livable luxury, and my secret weapon is custom comfort mattress. So I love the space here at Calibu Vineyard. This closet from Cal Closets is one that makes me want to never leave. The star of the show is Namib Fantasy from Best Cheer Stone. I love it here in this room, all thanks to Anderson Tuftex. Beautiful bypass barn doors as closet doors here at Calibu Vineyard, created by Rustica Hardware. So come on over to Calibu Vineyard when you're ready to barbecue. I'll be here with links.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us on another episode of TISE TV. We're here with Jennifer Farrell out at Calibu Vineyards. Jennifer, this house is amazing.
Thank you.
The bathroom looked exactly like the rendering. You could almost not tell the difference. So how did the partnership with Visualizer Plus go?
So in 2020, I teamed up with Visualizer Plus to create the virtual 3D images of what Calibu Vineyard would look like. I had no idea that their work would be so accurate that now when I'm standing in a space, I can't tell if I'm looking at a photograph or if I'm looking at the renderings they did a year and a half ago. It's kind of shocking, and particularly in the bathroom, because there's so many different patterns. To see how those patterns played out in the software and in the renderings, and then look at them in real life, they're identical.
That's amazing. I mean, 3D rendering has come a long way.
The SURFACES Showhome, Calibu Vineyard is a fully sourceable and shoppable experience with the newest products on the market from the finest industry brands in the build space. Watch the video highlights from Jennifer Farrell to learn even more insights about the design of each room, and then click the links to source the products.
So, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but were there any kind of twists, any kind of last minute things that you were just like, oh man, and then again, and you juggle a billion things at the same time. So I can't believe any of these stumped you, but what was a twist that you just weren't expecting?
Well, an interesting twist was how to clad the exterior of this home. It's a very big house, and it's not just 7,300 square feet. The apex is 3 stories high, and so when you're trying to figure out how to sheathe a home like this, you're talking about a massive quantity of materials. And so my goal was to figure out how to keep the original stucco and transform it in a way that it would be a board and batten look, because we're going with this modern Montauk inspired vibe. That is not easy. So I invented a system along with my friends at BMC and at James Hardie, where we took the original stucco, we sandblasted it, and then we did 3 additional layers of stucco that buried some weather-resistant furring strips that we custom created. They had been attached to the original sandblasted stucco. We then used an adhesive caulk on the back and then drilled holes through so that a water seal would form. We went through the 3 layers of the new stucco siding all the way to a smooth coat that came flush with those furring strips. And then we attached our James Hardie batten strips to our furring strips. So this way, when we were attaching them, we weren't cracking the new smooth coat stucco. We then caulked on the side of our James Hardie and then did several coats of paint over it. So the end result is what looks like a wood board and batten house, but it's actually made of steel and, it's actually made of stucco and cement board. And so that makes it fire resistant, which is perfect up here in the Santa Monica Mountains.
Well, you definitely need that in Santa Monica. And it's so funny because the next question was going to be, what did you learn from your contractors? But just being out here and filming and with some of the contractors around, I've got to guess that they learned a lot of things from you.
The SURFACES Showhome, Calibu Vineyard is a fully sourceable and shoppable experience with the newest products on the market from the finest industry brands in the build space. Watch the video highlights from Jennifer Farrell to learn even more insights about the design of each room, and then click the links to source the products.
So, but what did you maybe learn from some of your contractors on this project?
You know, I've been doing this now for 22 years. It's been a long run, and I would say I learn something new all the time. Every day I learn. I tend to learn from surprising places. My contractors, yes, I do learn some things, and mostly what I learn are technical aspects, better installations for tile. I'll learn some interesting things about lighting, which, for example, did you know that there's a 24 volt line, so it's ultra low voltage or something like that. I didn't even know it existed, because there's like low voltage and then there's 24 volt, so you can do special things with LED lighting. I learned little tricks like that along the way, but I think the thing I learned most from contractors over the years is different ways to manage projects, because we all have our own way of managing. I certainly have mine, and sometimes mine's not the best way. So I think working with different contractors, which this project did involve several contractors because it's such a big house, working with several different teams, I learned from the contractors different ways of managing their teams, and that's a skill I continue to try to grow.
Well, I've seen you bribe them with popsicles, I've seen you make smoothies while filming and doing everything else. So I think you're working your magic.
The SURFACES Showhome, Calibu Vineyard is a fully sourceable and shoppable experience with the newest products on the market from the finest industry brands in the build space. Watch the video highlights from Jennifer Farrell to learn even more insights about the design of each room, and then click the links to source the products.
So a lot of the times designers don't live in the project that they're designing. And so they can kind of be a little detached when the homeowner, who maybe still lives in the property, is having to deal with all the different brands and contractors and all the different people. What was it like living in the home with all these different brands and all these things different going on during the project?
Over the years, I've created quite a few show homes, and at some point I move into them, even if it's just for a few months, because I've learned, you know, these are not spec homes. You have to kick the tires, and I have dragged my family into these homes and let them run wild to test everything out. And you learn a lot about products and what works and what doesn't work when you have a real family with real pets and real kids living in the home. And we get to make changes based on what we learn by being the guinea pigs. But this was a different project because Calibu Vineyard is so huge. We built a vineyard. There was a field of wheat, so we actually built a vineyard and became farmers. We have now made wine, which is absolutely spectacular. Our winemaker, B. Allen Geddes, is an award-winning winemaker who has crafted some beautiful wines here at Calibu. But living here definitely was a lot. It's an overwhelming process at times because there's so much to do here. You never have a minute without workers in the house. We've been working 7 days a week here for quite a while. And so there's good and bad to it. The bad is you never really get privacy. But the good is that you really learn each space intimately. This house is not perfect, as no house ever can be. But I know where all the imperfections are, and I can think about them and figure out ways to make changes to them that work better. And there are changes that I made yesterday on designs that I'd had in my head for a year and a half. And those are changes that if I didn't live here and immerse myself in every day and see how the sun hits that particular moment as it's setting over the mountain, those are things you can't know unless you're here all the time.
That's such an interesting one, and I know of designers that work remote, and having lived through that, it had to be unique and something maybe other designers might go through. I don't know.